Well, good morning, everyone. It's meteorologist Taylor Stephenson with 13 News Now, here with your Monday through Friday daily weather desk, where we talk about the top weather headlines, not only locally, but around the nation and around the world. For everyone who's joining me for the first time, this happens every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. We do switch around meteorologists, so you'll see Craig Mueller later on. But let's start locally. It's been a pretty foggy start for us at the moment. Current visibility around the area has been really struggling when you get to the coast and in the northeastern North Carolina. Right now in Virginia Beach, only 2 miles worth of visibility. In Chesapeake, down to 3/4 of a mile. The fog gets denser the further south you get. Elizabeth City down to 1/4 of a mile worth of visibility. Eatonton, we are talking 1/8 of a mile. The good news is places like Suffolk, Hosky starting to do better than where we were earlier this morning, right around 7 to 8 a.m., where they were only down into 1/2 a mile to 1/4 of a mile. Here's what we're looking at from our time lapse this morning of the Jordan Bridge, which usually looks into Chesapeake. And as you see, you cannot even see any parts of Chesapeake at the moment. Cars going through, as you see, taking their time, not seeing any high beams. That's the good news. Always use low beams when you're in fog. But look how dense that fog is. You can't even see the river from this point of view, only the bridge as the cars pass through. Good news that we are going to see that fog really starting to clear up as we get into parts of the mid-morning into the early afternoon. Now, how does fog form? Well, we do have one type of fog called radiation fog. And what radiation fog is, it takes into account a couple of ingredients. One, you need clear skies. 2, you need calm winds. With radiation fog, the calm winds, clear skies make way for this potential for fog to develop and obviously cause some road conditions to become a little bit unfavorable as you get out and about through that commute. Again, good news is once we start to get a little bit more heat and we actually get temperatures today 10 to 15 degrees above average, we will not be talking about this fog for very long. Now, we will prepare for a milder day today, but northern New Jersey is cleaning up the snow it got late last night. Here's a look at the mini winter wonderland from our friends at ABC New York. This part of Jersey won't be as warm as us today, but they'll reach close to the 50s. So the snow you're seeing from this beautiful view of what happened last night probably won't stick around. And after nearly a month of destruction in Southern California, the Palisades and Eatonton fires in Los Angeles are now fully contained. At least 29 people, unfortunately, were killed and more than 37,000 acres burned and more than 16,000 homes and buildings were destroyed. California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a $2.5 billion relief package to help people recover and rebuild faster. Celebrities and fans are also chipping in. Beyoncé pledged $2.5 million for the relief effort. The band U2 chipped in another $1 million. At last night's Grammy Awards, a group of firefighters and first responders were invited onto the red carpet and the Grammy stage itself. They received a full standing ovation, as they should. They've been doing a great job out in California. Host Trevor Noah asked viewers to donate throughout the show and said any speeches that went overtime would lead to fines in the name of fire fundraising. The comedian says Grammy viewers contributed around $7 million to Los Angeles wildfire relief during Sunday's show alone. What a great story. In California's Bay Area, an atmospheric river delivered several inches of rain over the weekend. The super saturated ground is causing trees to topple along with serious flooding. ABC 7 News reporter Cornell Bernard has a look at some of the damage.
About 5 minutes to 10 last night, we started hearing popping and cracking.
Lisa Carreño says she's been concerned about this 200-foot-tall Douglas fir, which once stood near her Forestville home.
And then it sounded kind of like a soft thunder coming down.
The giant tree falling on her neighbor's house, damaging the roofline, taking out a fence and part of the back deck.
This is the best case scenario of a worst nightmare, but nobody who was inside was injured. And I'm really, really grateful for that.
This tall tree falling over West Side Road on Saturday.
Right now, the soils are incredibly saturated, so the tree systems are relatively weak, and then you add wind to that, we're seeing a lot of trees coming down.
Captain Cullen Ramos from the Sonoma County Fire District says the latest atmospheric river has brought several inches of rain and flooding. By Sunday morning, Slusser Road in the Russian River Valley was under nearly a foot of water, but many drivers were still going for it. Not Michelle Lee and her friends from Martinez.
There is an enormous amount of flooded water coming through. The vineyards are all flooded. The road is flooded. We can't get through. We can't drive through that.
She decided to turn around and find an alternate route. Other roads in nearby Windsor are closed due to flooding.
If you do come across roads that are closed, please don't drive into the roadways.
This is Ross Station Road here in Sonoma County. Right now, it's looking more like a lake. Green Valley Creek has flooded its banks, and it's cut off the entrance to this winery. With more rain coming, the fire department's swiftwater rescue team will be standing by along the Russian River.
We're trying to move things accordingly to pre-position things the best we can. Okay. But a lot of this is going to be dependent on the public trying to stay out of areas they don't need to be in.
Right. In Sonoma County, Cornell Bernard, ABC 7 News.
And with an atmospheric river, we have levels 1 through 5. And according to locals out there and local officials, the rating was a 4, which means that the rain was needed, but it could be destructive, as we saw in that last video. Now, while this type of weather pattern is nothing new for the Bay Area and California, they still cause serious issues like we just saw. What exactly is an atmospheric river, though? Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandages joins us to explain.
Atmospheric rivers, a familiar weather pattern that is much more common on the West Coast than here in the East. But what exactly is it, and why is this such a unique occurrence that brings about such significant impacts? An atmospheric river can be identified on satellite imagery using the water vapor filter. This depicts high levels of moisture in the low and mid levels of the atmosphere. So what exactly is it? Like an actual river on land. An atmospheric river is a large, narrow, and continuous band of moisture, in most cases originating from tropical latitudes where moisture is more readily available. On average, this giant band of water vapor can be quite narrow, only 200 to 400 miles wide. This conveyor belt of moisture then pushes inland, encountering enhanced terrain or mountains, forcing that moisture to rise and condense, producing prolific rainfall amounts and, if cold enough, snowfall rates. Depending on how long they persist, these atmospheric rivers can be responsible for highly impactful weather events, including floods, mudslides, and blizzards. For 13 News Now, I'm Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandages.
So let's take a current look at what they're experiencing now in California. A lot of cloud cover around the area for California. Right now, mainly north of San Francisco. Let's zoom in and see what's going on. Medford to Redding, we're seeing some really steady rain going on right now. Redding, California into Eureka, we're seeing some light to moderate rainfall. But just to the north of that, as you get near the Oregon-California border along I-5, we're seeing some snow mixed in, and that goes all the way to Medford, Oregon. So seeing a pretty consistent stream of rain, but as you get down into places like San Francisco, just a couple of showers in the area. Sacramento not seeing much in the way of any type of rainfall at the moment, mainly around the Highway 680 corridors where some of those showers are. San Jose as well, you're seeing some rain coming down there as well. And then down into parts of Southern California where those wildfires were raging. We are not seeing anything going on in terms of weather, but the good news is some of the fires down in Southern California have been 100% contained. So we are really grateful for the firefighters who helped contain the situation. We are still thinking about the victims of the fire and what is left behind down in Los Angeles. But speaking of wet weather and heavy rainfall, late last week, heavy rain from a storm named Ivo caused major flooding in northwestern France. We got these shocking aerial shots from the Associated Press showing flooded streets and homes. Around 1,000 people have been evacuated since late last weekend. According to France's National Flood Warning Service, a nearby river reached 17 feet on Wednesday afternoon, which is 2 feet higher than what it was that same time the day before. So a 24-hour change of 2 feet. And as you see, a lot of the flooding going on in those towns in France. Now, taking it back here home across the pond back to the Atlantic, let's talk more about what to expect here in Hampton Roads over the next few days. Satellite and radar for us is quiet on the radar side. We had a couple of showers that rolled through earlier yesterday into the early evening. And then as we got into this morning, a lot of that dried up. So satellite and radar for us over the past like 24 hours, if my computer will wake up from its mid-morning nap, it would show that we would see a few of these showers rolling through. Right now, satellite and radar is not going back as far as I wanted to, but you can see a couple of these showers that kind of moved offshore of the Outer Banks very early this morning. But the big picture shows you that right now we're only dealing with cloud cover at the moment. Now, atmospherically, what's happening? We have high pressure in place. High pressure will continue to move offshore. What that will do is change our wind direction from north or west to south. That south wind really pulls in that warmer air. So right now, let's talk about the current winds we are seeing across the area at the moment. And winds today will be fairly light, anywhere from about 5 to possibly as high as 15 miles per hour. But right now, very calm conditions across most of our area, anywhere from winds sustained 5 to 7 miles per hour. But notice that winds are now coming from the west. That pulls in a very dry air. That air, though, will become warmer as the winds change from west to south. So across the area, seeing winds anywhere from Portsmouth down to Duck at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Now, with the winds, with the cloud cover, that kept us a little bit more on the warmer side. It acts like a blanket or almost like an insulator when you have cloud cover in the area. Our normal low temperature or morning temperature for this time of year is around 33 degrees, so right near freezing. But current temperatures this morning are already in those middle 40s for us. Right now, 45 in Norfolk, 46 in Norfolk, 45 in Smithfield, and 44 up in Gloucester. So overall, it still is a little bit crisp outside, but definitely not as cold as it should be for a very early February day. So today we are talking feeling temperature of more like spring for us. Now, I know we had Groundhog Day yesterday, and Phil said that we should get 6 more weeks of winter, but again, it's going to feel more like early spring today. By the afternoon, right around noon, temperatures will be in the upper 50s, getting close to very 60-degree temperatures near the eastern shore, Outer Banks. We're only talking temperatures in the upper 40s to lower 50s for lunchtime. By the afternoon, we'll have a few more clouds rolling into the picture. Highs today, again, 10 to 15 degrees above normal in the lower to middle 60s. Our normal high temperature for this time of year is 51 degrees. As we get through the February, our high temperature will slowly increase. Our normals will slowly increase to about 53, 54 degrees. By March, that number skyrockets to the 60s. So if you're not a fan of the cool weather and you want to see 60s consistently, like we'll see today, you kind of have to wait till March and April when the temperatures really start to settle in and we get into our springtime pattern. I will say, though, meteorological spring starts on March 1st. So we are not that far away from seeing temperatures really starting to rebound back to where we get into the outdoor festivities weather or maybe some mild beach weather. So not too far on the horizon. As we get into tonight, those south winds really start to pick up. We can see gusts as high as about 20, maybe even 25 miles per hour later tonight. Cloud cover will still be sticking around. Temperatures will fall to the lower to middle 50s, but that's still very mild for this time of year. We should be somewhere again in those 30s. As we wake up tomorrow morning, those 50s are still staying in the picture. Very warm conditions. But the problem with tomorrow is that we get a cold front, and the cold front comes during the day. And what that will do is bring our high temperatures up about 1 to 2 hours. Instead of our high temperatures being around 2 to 3 p.m., we're talking high temperatures around lunchtime, 11 to noon. So tomorrow, we're starting off in those middle 50s for morning temperatures, starting off very sunny as well, lots of sunshine. By the middle of the day, right around lunchtime, high temperatures will rise to the middle 60s. We will have increasing cloud cover as a cold front rolls through. Notice how this is kind of a bell curve. It starts off on the lower end, rises in the middle, and falls towards the end. And that's because that cooler air rushes in behind that cold front as we get into tomorrow afternoon. So where we really should have high temperatures around 3 p.m., by 2 to 3 p.m., we're dropping to the upper 50s with increased cloud cover. And then by 8 p.m., we're back into the lower to middle 50s. Overall, not a bad day, but you'll definitely notice that change in weather as you get into the afternoon, where you'll walk into work tomorrow or take those kids to school tomorrow with temperatures in the 50s. By the time you leave work and you pick up those kids from school, it's going to feel the exact same because our high temperatures have already occurred while you were inside the building. But this is just a precursor for what we could see as we get into the middle to end of the week. We are going to see increasing rain chances because that's not the only front we'll see over the next few days. Your 7-day rain chances show that we'll stay dry today and tomorrow, but Wednesday through early next week, we have isolated to scattered shower chances each and every day. And that's because we'll have a series of fronts that roll through. Now, the front for tomorrow will be a very dry front, but it will be a very impactful front when it comes to temperatures. Afternoon high temperatures on Wednesday afternoon may only make it into the middle 40s. I think that we may only see some temperatures north and around the peninsulas in the lower 40s. So it will be a seasonably cool day for us, but we still will continue with a few peaks of sunshine before we get into that wet weather. So let's talk about that wet weather. This is our American model, the GFS, and it takes you long range. By tomorrow, we'll have a pretty good understanding of the timing for Wednesday night into Thursday morning's rain chances. So right now, the American model shows rain developing Wednesday night around 8 to 9 p.m. It will be pretty widespread for us overnight Wednesday. But as you see with the American model, it's suggesting some winter weather to our north. I don't think our temperatures will be cold enough here for winter weather to mix in, at least on the south side and in northeastern North Carolina. Northern neck, eastern shore, could you maybe see a little bit of sleet? Possibly. I think that chance is fairly low. It really depends on where that freezing line sits. You need to have temperatures around freezing to have something like sleet, even snow, as suggested in places like Washington, D.C. and the Maryland Eastern Shore. So here we're talking a cold rain on Wednesday night into the morning on Thursday. So if you're heading out on Thursday to work or taking those kids to school, give yourself an extra couple of minutes to head out the door because you will be seeing a few isolated showers in the mix. We get a break during the afternoon, and then our second round of rain for the day on Thursday comes late on Thursday around 8 to 9 p.m. once again. We could have a few heavier downpours mixed in with this system as well as this system moves through. Okay, that's the front coming through, and then we get a little bit of a break on Friday. But what that front will do is clear out the rain, but also bring cooler temperatures. So we'll be near the middle 60s on Thursday, but by Friday, we're gonna be in the upper 50s to lower 60s. Saturday, the cooler air continues to settle in, so we'll be in those middle 50s for afternoon highs. But getting into your weekend, that's when rain chances start to come back for us. This is around 8 a.m. on Saturday, as you see a little bit of mixed precipitation possible for places in D.C. and Maryland. For us, we are talking just a very mild rain across the area. Any rain that we do get from these systems will be super beneficial. Right now, the majority of Hampton Roads underneath either a moderate or severe drought. The only places I'm seeing maybe the chance for A little bit of dry conditions is near I-95 in between Richmond and Emporia. But Tappahannock, Chincoteague, Melfa, in Matthews, we're talking a severe drought. So rain is definitely needed around the peninsulas and even parts of the Outer Banks, where we're starting to see near Nags Head a little bit of that severe drought developing in south of the Albemarle Sound. Everywhere else, we are talking that moderate drought. So any rain that comes through, I will definitely welcome it. Unfortunately, it seems that even though we will have multiple systems rolling through during this week, we won't pick up that much rain. So anywhere between Wednesday and Saturday afternoon, we're only going to pick up maybe half an inch of rain, an inch of rain, if we get those locally heavy downpours. So we'll hope that the rain really comes through, because we do need it, even though we did see, again, last month, in the middle to end of the month, we did see anywhere from about 3 to 5 inches of snow. Remember snowfall rates, and I'll bring that back up right now when it comes to the snowfall ratios. And when it comes to ratios, it's all about temperatures. It's about ratios, right? So ratios means that it is a certain amount of water to get to a few inches of snow, and it really depends on the actual air temperature. So for the example that we use 1 inch of water. When it came down to our actual amount of water that we had in the atmosphere during our snow event during the 21st and 22nd of January, we may have had maybe 1/4 of an inch of water, if that, because the air was just so dry. But because the temperatures were so low, then you got higher rainfall ratios. So for our rainfall ratios, if you have 34-degree temperatures outside, it's going to produce a wet, very compact snow. So for every 1 inch of water, you'll get about 5 inches of wet snow. When the temperatures are just slightly below freezing, let's say 30 degrees, this gives us our typical or ideal ratio of 10 to 1. 1 inch of water for every 10 inches of snow. But then when you have temperatures in the teens, we saw temperatures in the 20s, you can have snowfall ratios 20 to 1, which we did see in some places in northeastern North Carolina, where they picked up 8 inches of snow, but we only had about 1/4 of an inch of water to deal with in our atmosphere. And so in temperatures of 18 degrees, you may pick up 20 inches of snow with only 1 inch of water, because the snow becomes so much finer and so much drier that it becomes this very fluffy snow that accumulates very well. So why did I bring this up? It's because even though we did have snowfall rates around parts of the area in those 20 to 1 ranges, because of the fact that we only maybe had about an inch of, or 5 inches of snow, it only accumulated in places to maybe 1/10 of an inch. Look at January 21st and 22nd. The rainfall totals, remember, as that snow melts, that's how we get our rainfall totals. It only came up to 1/1600ths of an inch. On the Wednesday, the 22nd, 11/100ths of an inch. So that doesn't really do much for our drought, right? We only really picked up around maybe 1.5 inches of rain at most throughout the entire month of January, which is not as much, not as good as we need for this time of year. We definitely need much more rain, and that's why we've really started to really sink into that drought. So again, to give you a look at rain chances this week, we're staying dry Monday and Tuesday. It's going to be midweek where we really pick up those rain chances, anywhere from isolated to scattered showers across the area Wednesday through Monday. I will say Friday will be drier than this model is predicting. I think that we may only have a 10% chance of rain, mainly for northeastern North Carolina, as that cold front rolls through and brings a few lingering showers early on Friday. but our rain chances start midweek, and it really starts Wednesday night. Again, you may see a few models hinting at the fact that we could see some winter weather. That winter weather, I believe, will stay to our north. I don't think we'll be cold enough to get that transition over. If we do get cold enough and that freezing line starts to move towards Hampton Roads, I think it's going to stay right between the northern neck and eastern shore. So most of us seeing that very cold rain continuing into Thursday morning. So already start to prep yourself for the commute on Thursday. It could be a little bit messy, not only dealing with traffic, but also dealing with some showers. Showers will break apart during the afternoon and then resurge during the evening time. Again, Friday looks like a mainly dry day, as you can kind of see that front sinking to the south and bringing rain chances out to sea. But then we bring that rain right back into the weekend, where isolated showers are possible on Saturday and Sunday. But again, I'm showing you why this rain is important. It's because of this drought, especially during this time of the year where we are starting to see, farmers who need the rain for their crops. Any rain is beneficial, especially around the peninsulas where they're underneath a severe drought for the northern neck, middle peninsula, and the peninsula. Northern neck, middle peninsula, and eastern shore. Peninsula, you're underneath a moderate drought. Same with the south side and most of northeastern North Carolina. Down in the Outer Banks, we're seeing in parts of Nags Head and the south in a severe drought, and south of the Albemarle Sound as well. So any rain is beneficial, but like I said, the rain that we're going to have this week will be pretty light to moderate at best. We're talking anytime between Wednesday through Saturday afternoon, picking up half an inch to an inch of rainfall. And as you see, most of us may be only getting half an inch. An inch of rainfall may be possible when it comes to some heavier downpours. But I want to focus more on today once again, because today and tomorrow will feel fabulous, especially today once we get that fog cleared. Let's get one more look at the fog that we are seeing across the area, and it looks like we're already seeing big improvements. Chesapeake, you're up to a mile worth of visibility. Virginia Beach up to 3, Norfolk up to 5. Suffolk and West, you have no issues with fog at the moment. The main concern is going to be in this little area of northeastern North Carolina, anywhere from Manio into Currituck, Elizabeth City, Eatonton, and up into the Virginia-North Carolina border. That's where we're seeing the densest fog in this small southeastern corridor. So be very careful, especially on NC-12 as you're driving out and about this morning. But today is going to be a fabulous day. The more sunshine we'll see, the more that fog will start to lift. By the afternoon, right around lunchtime, temperatures will be in the upper 50s for most of us. Eastern Shore, Outer Banks, you will stay on the cooler side of the day. Your high temperatures may only be at best in the upper 40s to middle 50s. But everywhere else, we're talking lower to middle 60s. Our normal high temperature for this time of year is around 51 degrees. So it will be 10 to 15 degrees warmer this afternoon. As someone from the South and as someone who was also born in the very early fall, I love getting these warmer temperatures in the picture. Again, our normal high temperature for February starts to get into the middle 50s, but by March, we'll get into normal high temperatures in the 60s. So only about 4 weeks until we can start saying the 60s become our norm. But for right now, this is unseasonably warm. Overnight tonight, winds will start to pick up. Anywhere gusts from about 20 to 25 miles per hour are possible. Those south winds will be really strong, and that'll pull in that warmer air. So overnight tonight, we're going to stay in the lower to middle 50s. That's about 20 degrees warmer than where we should be for this time of year, with our normal low temperature around freezing. So definitely enjoy the warm night that we'll have, and then the warmer afternoon we'll have tomorrow as well. Remember, tomorrow is our transition day from dry and warm to roller coaster temperatures and rain chances, and it all starts with this front. The front rolls through during Tuesday afternoon. That will bring us temperatures earlier, high temperatures earlier than we should be, in the middle 60s by lunchtime, and then we'll fall all throughout the day. We'll have a lot of sunshine to start the day, and then by the afternoon, we're bringing in some more cloud cover. And then again on Wednesday, we bring in those rain chances, and those rain chances linger into early next week. Your 5 to 7 day forecast shows temperatures today in those middle 60s tomorrow, and then we get into the 40s on Wednesday afternoon. By Thursday, though, we are talking temperatures rising into the middle 60s, and then our next front comes through. That will bring temperatures slowly back down to the middle 50s on Saturday, but then we get roller coaster whiplash once again. We're talking middle 60s on Sunday, but isolated showers continue. Again, for the start of our rain on Wednesday, those will start late. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you want to follow me, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at meteorologist Taylor Stephenson on Facebook, at TD Stars, TDSTARZ on Instagram and TikTok, where I talk about weather and anything else I like to do, travel. And so if you want to learn more about what I do here as a meteorologist at 13 News Now, based in Norfolk, Virginia, just follow me on those platforms. If you want to rewatch this stream or any other streams or newscasts, always make sure that you can download our 13 News Now Plus app. It's free. That's the great news. And you can find it on Fire TV, Apple TV, or Roku TV. Today, we have live streams going on. And if you'd rather have your information sent right to your phone, where we also send you weather alerts, especially when we have weather impact days to tell you when our most impactful weather will be, whether that's extremely cold temperatures, extremely hot temperatures, snow, heavy rainfall, or severe weather, will keep you in the know. Make sure to download the 13 News Now Plus app. You can scan the QR code right on your screen right now. And again, it's also free in the App Store and on Google Play. Thank you so much for joining me for the Weather Desk this morning, talking everything from local weather to national weather and international weather. We do this every day again at Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. and the meteorologist will switch, but I will say I will be back tomorrow, and then meteorologist Craig Muller will join you from Wednesday through Friday. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and we'll see you bright and early, 9 a.m. tomorrow.